Alright, so this is the demo that was shown as part of the 11G launch. Let's go over here. So this is the demo actually running. So this is kind of a storefront, and what you can see in terms of components, we have some components in the menu. This is actually an iterator just doing a for each on some of the items with a pop-up on each one of the items. So when you actually go over each one of those items and just stand over it, you get a little pop-up. Again, this is done declaratively with the show pop-up behavior on a hover operation. And then there's this link here which takes you to the next page. And the next page uses the new hierarchy viewer component to fetch data from actually the FOD schema about products. So you can see the top categories. You can expand one of them to see the subcategories, zoom out. I'm zooming out using the mouse scroll button. Let's look at some printers. Okay, again, fetching data for printers, isolating this node. Okay, stand over a printer and see some of the details about the printer. This is again one option that you have there is to define cards inside the hierarchy viewer, where you can scroll over and see information about products, and again zoom in, zoom out, and things like that. If you decide that you actually want to buy this item, you click the Buy It Now. Again, just a normal ADF link that does page navigation, passing a parameter using a page flow scope. Okay, so on this page you get two images actually, this input spinner and a gauge component showing you basically the supply. And there's the ADF media component in here where you can actually play a video about the product. So again, just showing an AVI component in here. Okay. And if you're interested, the video was created on a Macintosh. So anyway, let's look at some of the reviews. So this is actually interesting. The reviews, the switching here is done with an ADF switcher. So those are two areas on the screen. And what you'll see about the table, it looks a little different than your normal ADF table. This is because of skinning. Okay. Other than that, this is just like your normal table where you can take columns and rearrange them. Okay, so move them around, and you can sort them. Okay, and what we're doing here is just displaying an image representing the number coming from the database. For each row, you can also expand it to look at some of the reviews about it. Okay, so this is again the detailed disclosure property of the table. Then you can say, okay, I want this item. You do a drag and drop operation. This is done with the drag and drop components that you have in ADF Faces. Again, no coding required. Change the spinner, and as you change the spinner, you can see the number in the gauge component going down. So this is actually doing partial page refreshing between the two components. Here you have some of the graphs component. Right, so like a pie graph. This is a show detail component. Over here we have another pie graph. So this is a pie graph. The previous one was a bar graph. This is a horizontal bar graph. Right, just showing some of the graphing info capabilities. There's the pickup location. Again, this is a link, changing with a switcher the area that will be displayed at the bottom part of the page. Okay. And what we're showing here is using the ADF map component. Okay, so again, no coding was required in order to do this. We just do a fetch from the database. This is actually coming from the FOD warehouse table. Okay, so this is a list of warehouses. You can zoom in on locations, drag it over, click on a component, and get a little pop-up with the stock. Okay. So this is the map component. Then you can press the checkout button and actually go and check out from your application, specify something else here, some checkboxes, input components of course, and of course a date picker for you to be able to pick the date, pick a year or something like that, and pick a month, and just choose it. There's another partial page rendering here between this field and the total. Right, so you can see going up and down. And when you click the press order, you'll actually get a little pop-up window, again done declaratively with the modal window component. This is a panel slider, this is the rich text editor. If you're not familiar, rich text editor just lets you choose things like colors, and this is of course an input color component, another of the components that you can include in your application to get it working. Okay, something like that. Okay. The other thing about this application, and again, this whole application was built completely declaratively. There's no JavaScript or anything like that. There's a couple of manage bins to manage the data, but other than that, everything is completely kosher and declarative. Another thing that you might notice is that we actually have skins that we built for this thing. Let me show you actually how the skin looks like. I think it best displays on that product info page, so if you don't mind. Let me go back to this page. Okay, you can see another printer which is the default value for the view object. So this is a bind-based view object that fetches this picture, something like that. Anyway, let's switch to see the table. It's also quite interesting. And we basically picked up a couple of skins and put them in here. So the major changes are usually with the olive look and feel. If you click apply, what you'll see is that the background color for everything is changing, and also the default font for items like here is changing. If we switch to the storm look and feel, get everything to be a little more grayed out. This was another nice design by our UI expert person. Again, different font.